Azrael is a 2024 action horror movie. Directed by E.L. Katz, it stars Samara Weaving, Victoria Carmen Sun, and Nathan Stewart Jarrett. Years after the rapture, in a world where no one speaks, a devout female-led community hunts down a young woman who has escaped imprisonment. Recaptured, Azrael is due to be sacrificed to an ancient evil lurking in the woods, but she fights back for her own survival. This is a really interesting little movie, but it's tricky to talk about. It's tricky to explain. It is a little hard to follow. It goes into religious lore, and so if you're up to speed on a lot of the stories in the Bible, you'll probably know what's going on pretty much throughout this. But for those of us like me, who has been a very long time since I read the Bible, I didn't follow exactly what was going on here. The whole movie really has no dialogue, so everything takes place with hand signals and whistles and things like that, but nobody really talks to each other. And so it's hard to kind of get some answers. So I definitely was left at the end kind of trying to figure out stuff, trying to figure out who was who, what was the actual meaning here, and this and that. What I really enjoyed about this is that in a lot of ways, it is a religious story. I mean, they're basically retelling a story, yet it doesn't at all feel like they're pounding a religious agenda on you. Not at all. And it feels more like an exorcism kind of movie where the religion is a part of the story, but it really is just a fascinating, interesting horror thriller kind of movie. And this gets pretty hardcore at times. I mean, there's a lot of action in this, a lot of violence, definitely plenty of gore. There's some creature kind of elements to it. It's heart pounding and intense. I mean, the entire movie, I was on the edge of my seat. There was never a dull moment in it. And Samara Weaving was perfectly cast for this, because what we saw from her in Ready or Not, this takes some of that, her running for her life and having to fight back, but not being necessarily a super badass, but still having that hunger to survive and be willing to do whatever it takes to survive, that kind of thing really shines through in this. And her facial expressions, because she doesn't talk, and I'm not going to get into exactly why nobody talks, but there is a plot reason. It's not just a gimmick to try to get people to go see this. Like, it actually makes sense in the story. But because she doesn't talk, she really has to emote through facial expressions and body language through this entire movie, and she does a fantastic job of that, because she has to show an entire range of emotions through this. There's points where she's happy, sad, angry, frustrated, scared. I mean, you name it, there's a time in this movie where you see that emotion on her face. Another thing that really blew me away about this was the set and the location. Man, the way this is shot, but just the location in general is amazing. I mean, it really is magical at times. They shot it in Estonia, and I believe there's been a few other horror movies shot there as well, but just the landscape there is so beautiful, so majestic. It has a pretty wide range of terrains and locations throughout this. So even though a lot of this movie, she's running for her life through the forest, through, you know, different types of terrain, it doesn't feel like it's repetitious, because it's different types of landscapes and different things she has to deal with and make it through to survive. But if you don't know this story like I didn't, I think this movie will work a lot better for you, but you will be left probably with some questions by the end. So I do recommend that anybody go and look up, you know, an explainer. There's a number of articles and things out there that kind of explain the ending of this movie and what happens and what it means. It just gives more context to it, and it made me appreciate this movie even more. But even if you don't do that, yeah, you might be left with some questions, but there's a lot of fun qualities to this. It's action-packed. It's got intense moments, creepy moments. I don't know if it's super scary, but definitely creepy and unnerving. And there are some twists and turns that this movie takes that even if you know the story, so to speak, I think you still might be surprised, because the way it goes about telling that story is not real cookie cutter. It's not like it's just telling this exact story from a part of the Bible, which also gives it a real movie kind of quality to it and makes it more fun, I think. So this is a smaller, low budget indie movie put out by Shudder IFC. So it's going to be out on Shudder shortly. So when you watch this, it's only going to be in theaters probably for a week or two. Maybe we'll get a couple weeks, but they put these out and they're in and out of theaters quickly. But I really enjoyed this, especially once I had a few of my questions answered. It gave me an even deeper appreciation of this. But I think it's one you should definitely add to your list and keep an eye out for when it drops on Shudder. And that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week. I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or you can become a channel member and help support the channel that way by clicking on the join button down there. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about The Substance. And I'll see you guys next time.